Hey folks, welcome back. This is Lucid, and we're jumping back into the tournament finals. It's turn 44. And before we kick it off, I just want to give a kind of quick reflection. When we're looking at this as the observer faction, as a caster, we're seeing all sorts of things very clearly, which may be hard for people in the game to appreciate. You know, when you're playing, you a lot of times don't have perfect scouting information. In fact, if you're me, you have very, very bad scouting information. And a lot of the information you get is going to be from the players in the game. And everybody has their own perspective. They all have their own kind of fog of war in terms of what they see. And they're all going to have different things that they're worried about, they're concerned about. They're going to have nations that maybe they think they're a horrible matchup against. They have nations, or they have players that they're more scared of. And all this is going to factor into the diplomacy, into kind of, what gets shared among players. So, I think that's kind of one of the major forces in Dominions is, like information is not perfect, right? So when things seem obvious to us as casters, it may not be as obvious to people in the game. And that comes out a lot more when you're, like we've had a few games where it's multiple people YouTubing it and they all have their own perspectives, and a lot of times they're the same, but a lot of times they're different in terms of how they see the world. So anyway, I think that's a pretty important part to just mention as we go into the final episodes of the series. And yeah, with that, I think we'll get into it. We have some magic phase attacks. We have a Vanabog and a Vemyeda move in. So this was a trap, because for the Vemyeda to be here... Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, for her to be here... Oh my god. she cloud trapezed in. Okay, I was going to say, for her to be here... She has to be sneaking around and then pop up, but no. Oh, and she retreats with the Staff of Elemental Mastery. Oh man, he just butchers the shit out of her with this, though. The 3 attacks, all buff to hell. You can, but I mean, every time you retreat, though, there's a decent chance you lose the commander, and losing with the Staff of Elemental Mastery would be crippling. But he's decided this province has got to go. Phantasmal Archers getting or I forget what spell this is. But this is definitely a spell. Phantasmal Attack. Let's see if we can find it. I can never remember. Here it is. So it's Alt 7. Yeah. Probably was yes, considering it was an attack on Vanderus. Would it have stayed? Let's read what it says real quick. This may have been Vanderus, actually. Maybe he thought it would join him in combat, but it ended up coming in and attacking his... I think Vanderus actually cast this and ended up casting it on himself, which is interesting. Okay. Coming down. Let's go... This is kind of the most hotbed activity here. Okay. Vanarusian Gods stick their head out and clear off the folks on top of that. There's a play on Vanarus's cap here. We've got the Windmaster, who's got a bunch of self... This is one of the better Merc armies in the game, by the way. These things will just mulch all sorts of things. They're so good. They're so good. Unless they have shock resistance... they're pretty high defense, and they've got ethereal. And they just kill things so fast. And it's just brutal. Look at this. Anyway. Just budget things, picking apart Vanarus very slowly. Low commitment attacks. Very few things risked. Okay, we have a showdown here between Fluffed Vanabog with a shit ton of gear. Oh, Frozen Heart spam. And no cold resistance. He's dead. He's as good as dead. Frozen Heart. People who saying water magic suck. What you saying now? Feels pretty bad, man. Yeah. I feel like once Frozen Heart comes online, cold resistance is a huge deal because it's Frozen Heart is armor negating cold damage. And I can't remember how much. I feel like it's like 8. 10. So if you have 10 cold resistance, it's just going to be chip damage. But if you have only 5, you're still going to take a significant amount of damage coming through. It's also very high precision. It's a very, very good spell. Very good spell. And you'll have to be water 1 to cast it. Water magic sucks, right? So this is a pretty crippling defeat. This was one of the more important thugs, I would say, for Vanarus. Anything he could have done, aside from gear, not easily. Not easily. You know, he could have done cold resistance with the water on this guy, but that would have required a good amount of foresight. But yeah, all these buffs, all the armor, all that doesn't matter. There's a little bit of Frozen Heart action coming through. A lot of, when you get to a lot of Dominions, there's a few, it's a multi-dimensional game, right? There's a lot of dimensions to it. One of the dimensions that's very important, and which you can see Yes here doing a very, very good job of, is low commitment rating, right? Like, you're never going to crush the. You have to imagine, like, you know how Ohm ran in here and attacked Pythium, and then when that army died, that triggered, and it was in one of the Diplo messages where Vanheim was like, he saw that. He's like, okay, we're attacking Ohm then. That triggered this. There's not really anything here which would trigger like, hey guys, we finally killed, 100 Morvarks. Go after Yes. There's none of that. It's just this low commitment rating. Slowly picking Vanarus apart. Okay. Oh no, Vanabog dies to some PD. I think this is because it's Bat PD. Yeah. Ooh, that's a zinger. This isn't even a ton of PD. This is like 16, 18 PD. Ooh. That is a zinger. Maybe it's more. What kind of gear did he have? If he had a Vine Shield, you'd have been okay. Yeah. This is very good for killing thugs, but not so great for dealing with being surrounded by bats. What could he have done? I think this one's death too. Turn 1 invulnerability would have saved him. But he did Soul Vortex. So he's lost now 2 of his better thugs. And that right there really... That means things are really about to start falling apart. That as well as getting his cat put under siege. I mean, he killed this thug here, which is kind of nice. But oh man, the wheels are off the wagon now. The wheels are off the wagon. What's interesting is I was expecting that Yis was going to take all this siege chaff and start rolling out over here, trying to conquer this maybe with... Because I think he still had, 10 or something more Varks. Maybe he didn't. I was kind of expecting that, but they're kind of hunkered down. I don't know if he's waiting to get more mage support so that he's not thinking that his mares are going to die. Or maybe he's just not in a hurry. He's just like, I'm going to slowly pick apart these guys with low commitment things. I'm not going to risk my valuable siege chaff army. Could be that. Coming down here into the Satis front, this fort is finally popped, and I think this is where most of the Morvarks are right now, is on top of this. Bandarlog finishing expansion, fighting off these Indies in his cap circle. And I think that's about it for this conflict. Let's go over and take a look at Ind. And we're going to try to kind of speed through some of this. So last turn, this Vanarusian army was right there, but it decided to go on top of Ind's capital. Remember, Ind wants to be in this war. Ind refused to peace out. He also refused to do a PD dump. Like, I'm pretty sure if you have all these elves trundling at your capital, you do a PD dump, you bring all your mages, you bring your gogs, and you fight them. Instead, he moved the gogs down here like he's just counter-raiding. Meanwhile, Vans follow on the flank of these gogs. Okay, let's take a look. This will give us an idea of what Ind is thinking. So he's got these Abbot Sages, which are the recruit anywhere. A very small communion, but back positioned, and then Soul Slay. Okay, so it's just a small Soul Slay communion behind a bunch of these guys. But there's small problems in this, like these guys should be on hold and attack if you're doing this shenanigans, and you probably want people on guard commander because you're fighting elves that can fly, so you could have like 2 or 3 thugs fly in the back and kill you pretty quickly. Okay, so anyway, that's a play. It's not a ton of siege strength. These guys count for 2, so it's 30. I don't know. I mean, it's going to take forever. It's going to be like, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Maybe he's thinking... See, the problem is now there's so many different plays that Vanheim could do. Like, I would probably assume, like if I had vision, which he does, that this Ind army is going to come here to try to liberate the cap. So I just move off the cap and come here and intercept these guys. And now he's totally incapable of ever really defending his cap, probably. But he's got a ton of plays. You know, he could... I think that's the best one. But he could also just sit on top of the cap. Because the cap mages plus these God Grievers are not going to be able to kill this. The cap mages plus the God Grievers plus PD might have been able to. Do they get the soldier dudes in there? Oh, they do. That's pretty cool. They get sacred troops in their province defense. I don't see any particularly big battles, but I mean, man, I'm still shocked. I'm shocked for Ind in so many ways. I'm shocked that they wanted to get in this war to start with, that they didn't get out when they had the opportunity after losing an army. That's an extremely generous offer from Vanheim, in my opinion. And then also that they're not, like this is their whole job, is taking this throne. I think if all of Ind's effort was dedicated to taking this throne and holding this coast, I think they would have a very good chance of doing that. I think everybody in the game would want them to do that, which means they could probably diplomatically get whatever they want. They could probably even ask for some crazy kind of concession from Vanarus, like that Vanarus won't nap out with the elves, which he's desperately going to want to do. But, I don't know. We'll kind of speed through this now, because I think at this point, the die is getting pretty close to being cast. We are nearing the point of checkmate. If we are not there already. Okay, who is this? Oh, this is the big boy. Oh man, okay. We've been waiting for this one, guys. This Scrotty has caused so much trouble for Ulm. But he's surrounded by these Black Halberds. Did he get an MR buff? He did not. Did he get the strength buff? He did not. But he did get Bonds of Fire. There goes Strength of Giants. Now these guys hit hard like freaking trucks. 32. What you really want is Iron Will on these guys. It's going to make a big difference with how often they get through that Vine Shield. Oh, man, but look at that damage. Look at that damage. Oh, and they run. But by that time, he's already dead. Yeah, it took the extra strength of giants, and then... I wonder if they actually destroyed his shield. I don't know. We're going to watch that again. I think that was why he died at the end. Yeah, the shield got crushed. The second the shield died, you can see he just melts. It's just too much damage. Look how much these guys hit for. 30. That's why is it so little? Oh, 27. Where are the black halberd dudes? 32. They just mulch this guy. Two-handed weapons, my friends. Riggedy, riggedy, wrecked. So, okay, that was one of the major things Ulm needed to really turn this thing around, was kill some of these damned raiders. And he's gotten one of the big ones, but there's still a few more he needs to get. Meanwhile, his cap's under siege, or Jotunheim's cap is under siege, and there's Scrotty coming out of the woodwork from everywhere. And now he is on top of this fort, with not a ton of resistance. So Ulm is basically just said, I don't really care about raiding. You can put most of my forts under siege. I'm just going to slowly walk around and take all of your forts from you. That is what this game is going to be for Ulm. Which, I mean, I don't know. Well, it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay. Vanheim attacking some barbs. I think that's about it for this turn. Let's go ahead and go to the next turn. Let's see if anything happening on the thrones. Nope. Okay, next turn, turn 45. Okay, so let's start over here with... where did we leave off? We left off, I think, with Ulm. So Ulm has finally popped to this fort. The thugs that were on top of his cap have disappeared. He has counter-raided this. He's counter-raided this from Vanheim. He's starting to get back his stuff. Ulm is starting to look a lot more like Ulm. But it's not clear where the thugs went. Oh no, all the thugs went on top of this fort. It's kind of a waste of a bunch of thug turns. But you can tell Jotunheim's getting a little cold feet about using these thugs now. Now that he's seen what can happen to them when they close in with these guardians. And there's a lot more guardians now. I think Ulm has the resources now to put some thug-killing squad in almost every province. And he can probably have enough that it will kill even 2 thugs in one province. Whether it will kill 4, I'm not sure. There's a small little Veti army on top of Jotunheim again. And Ulm doom-stacking, trundling around. This honestly is a little weird play from Sakane too. Like, he is not the kind of player that normally just doom-stacks and walks his doom-stack around. It's not even his style. But I think he's decided that's how he's going to play this game. So anyway, not too much to see over here. In Vanheim land, okay, where Vanheim is fighting Ind. Successfully raiding. Ind attacks Vanheim. Alright, so the mages have come out. And all the Vanheim guys... So, okay, here's the math. This is about 30 mages. And if they get into an even communion, it's going to be about, 15, 16 communion masters, most likely. And they're going to soul slay... Oh, man. So Anti-magic relief, Light of the Northern Star, personal regen, earth power on the slaves. It's my guess. Anyway, if they're going to land a killing hit... Does he have penetration? No. If they're going to land a killing hit, what's the MR of these guys? 10. So if they're going to land a killing hit, I think Soul Slay is a check against 12. So like 60% of the time, they're going to be killing, I don't know. Let's say like 10 dudes around. And there's probably 150. So in 15 rounds, I've killed most of these guys with Soul Slay. So it's Jotunheim. Vanheim is a bit on the clock. They have to kill all these guys before they all get Soul Slayed. And I think they actually will. I think they will. But it's going to be dicey. Okay, so let's see how many Communion Masters he has. Okay, so 16 slaves. That makes sense. So it's probably around 14 or something Masters, or maybe 16. So the Thunderstrike's coming down on the Gogs. Oh, he's doing Gifts of Heaven. See, I would have gone probably for the Soul Slay. I don't know if Glamour can dodge Gifts of Heaven. Maybe, I'm not sure. Some Soul Slay, some Gifts of Heaven. How are these guys doing on fatigue? They're getting pretty fatigued out. The other reason you patrol is you want this to happen with your PD up in front. Yeah, the Ind army's melting here. There's just not enough. If he did this with the PD, he would have taken it. But this is now getting pretty expensive for Vanheim. I still think he would have killed more with just Soul Slay spam. The other thing Vanheim really could have done here that would have made a huge difference is air elementals. I don't think he really made many. We can see one here, but like 10 air elementals. Let's see how many he made. Inds running off the field, so that's how it turned out. I guess his plan was to Thunderstrike instead of air elemental. The thing with air elementals is it's going to clear out the Communion. Air elementals preferentially target the back lines. A few air elementals would have murdered this in a few rounds. Yeah. So let's look at the ledger. 7 Maguses die, 10 Sages, 130 troops. On Vanheim's side, he loses 3 Van Herses, which are pretty cheap recruit anywhere mages. None of the Van Jarls. 107 Einhairs. That's pretty expensive. It's 2,500 gold. 20 Herdmen. 17 Vans. That's also expensive. That's like another 1,000, 200 or 300 gold. Very, very expensive. Pyrrhic victory for Van. And then Vanheim goes inside and fights the god. And this is a very high hit point god. Now, Bahamut has 18 fire shield. That's very high. Even if you have fire resistance, you're still going to get the shit zapped out of you from this. And he's got a lot of paths. This is like a rainbow Bahamut. So, yeah, 20 protection, temper flesh, flying shield. We'll see what all he does. Iron skin. Temper Flesh, Solar Eclipse. I don't know if that's needed. How, I guess. He's super fatigued out. Not sure that matters. And the Einhairs are all dead. There's no front line to charge through. So it's just the mages sitting here at the shooting range with the wolves coming in. With a few guys running back here, but as soon as they get back here, they get mulched by Bahamut. If you surrounded him with Einhairs, you would probably kill him. Most likely. He didn't do Phoenix Pyre or anything, which I assume he can do, but maybe not. Well, I think we know how this one's going to go. Okay, well, that is a pretty decisive defeat. All the Dwarven Smiths are gone. These guys are pretty nice and expensive. Vanadrot, super expensive cap-only mage. One of them is dead. One of the Van Jarls died. And the rest of the front lines. But you'll notice that not everybody came from outside. Like anybody these Van Herses were leading wouldn't have come inside the fort. So anyway, Ind is still under siege. I don't know who all's here, but yeah, the glorious Vanheim army is now defeated. And now, unfortunately for him, he's a very long way away from his production base. It's going to take him a long time to get troops back here, even as a speedy elf. So now, Ind, a lot of their mages destroyed, but they still have armies, so it looks like they're going to come out on top of this conflict. But not really set up to have any sort of speedy, successive victory. Like, they're going to be able to definitively kick Vanheim out of their lands. I think if I were Vanheim, I say, fine, like, finally, dude, okay, I didn't take your cap. Let's make peace. You can get all of this stuff, the former Ulm stuff. You can have this former Ulm fort, and then we'll be done with it. And then he would get to focus on trying to kill Ulm while Ulm's up there messing with Utgard or something. Or he turns his attention to Yes, which would probably be the more salient problem. But Ind is not going to be able to push through and kill Vanheim, I don't think. Not with anything we've seen so far. But Vanheim definitely is not going to now win a decisive victory against Ind. Not anymore. So they've kind of destroyed each other in a similar way to Ulm and Jotunheim destroying each other. That is that. I would say probably if you want one skill to improve in Dominions, getting out of bad wars, best skill you can have. Nothing worse than staying in bad wars. This is a bad war. This is a bad war. These are bad wars. Get out of bad wars, guys. Life is too short. Dominions games. Well, I won't say they're too short because a lot of Dominions games are too long. But yeah, if you want to have a shot at winning Dominions games, get out of bad wars. A lot of that has to do with like still staying friendly. A lot of times people stay in wars because they get pissed with someone. So like maintaining friendliness, which I don't always manage to accomplish, but it does have benefits because it means you can just be like, hey dude, let's just stop it. Nothing more to say. I think we've talked about those dudes. And I think we talked about the elves over here. Well, I don't think so. We have the Ice Devil popping out. Let's see how Venor's kitted him up. Pretty scary. Unfortunately, you have to be pretty careful with this dude. So what's nice, he's got the Barbed Tail, magic attack. Built-in Berserker. Very hard to kill these guys with conventional means. But leave it to Yes. I'm sure they will figure out a way to kill them, like a Holy Scourge or probably an innumerable number of things. Frozen Heart, though, will not work, so take that one off the list. But yeah, these guys are pretty. They're pretty good. They're pretty good, especially in Cold 3. So anyway, Vanarus is liberated, but Vanarus is looking a whole lot like Yes. And if you recall, last turn he lost just a ton of his thugs. He's got, oh no, he attacked here but was defeated. How did he get defeated by this? There's nothing here. And this guy is a good kit. What the hell happened? How is this possible? The old morale check. Now, how did this morale check happen? He's at full HP. Maybe he got hit. Let's see. Maybe he was hit at some point. It could just be the... I don't know if the Blood Slave counts towards the HP pool of the battle. I don't think it does. But it could be with her leaving... I don't think he ever got hit. We'll see green numbers pop up for region. Yeah, he never got hit. Yeah, that's a zinger. That's a zinger. We don't know if he retreated, but yeah. Oh boy, here we go. Ernest, welcome and back. We've got Ernest with Sword of Swiftness, a Flesh Eater. He's gotten rid of all of his afflictions. He's still cursed, so he's going to get a lot of them back. Vimyeda here to fluff him up. So interesting, Yes doing gifts from heaven from way back here, and precision does matter, so it's very unlikely to hit from the back row. And then this guy with the Hammer of the Mountain. Okay, here's one of the thugs with the Hammer of the Mountain. Now, she hits for 45, which is a lot of damage. But, and this is an important but, he has 30 protection. And he has Moss Body on him. Which means there's still a pretty good chance to negate a lot of the, well, basically all of that damage. Unfortunately, he's not going to turn around and hit her while there's other targets in front of him. It's a low priority tile to hit. So basically, he's still getting tagged every, little bit. But he's not getting hit enough, and it's not going through protection enough. Unfortunately, he's getting cold. I don't know what that's from. Oh, I guess it's from the cold weapons. Probably would have been good to do a little cold resistance, considering Yes has cold weapons bless. Which you could do with just elemental fortitude. I think it's working on his fatigue, too. But they're not able to do enough damage. Yeah, there we go. Powers through. Now, he unfortunately didn't kill a lot. He killed 2 of the knights. He killed the Morgan champion, so that's good. These are going to be in short supply with the with Sea of Ice being up. Well, no, he did kill a lot. Holy shit, he killed a ton. 68. Oh, these were mercs. So when they ran, they're showing up dead. Because most of these guys ran off. But yeah, okay, never mind. Basically completely wipes them out. So super nice by Vanarus. Manages to keep this fort. so far hasn't lost any major infrastructure, right? So presumably, if people come to his rescue, he could kind of get a foot back in the game. Bandarlog, meanwhile, very content to have most of their cap circle yet back, so they seem to be mostly kind of sitting in their cap. But I don't know. It is rough being Vanaroos right now. It's like you feel like you've got to do the turns, but you just can't make it happen, and everybody else in the game you feel like is not seeing what's happening. I mean, if we count up the Yis caps right now, he's at 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, and then this would be 5 and 6, but yeah, he's not really that close to 5 or 6, especially with Sea of Ice up. So he's squarely at 4. And soundly but slowly grinding through on his way to his 5th. Look at this asshole. Pillaging the back lines. Getting a bunch of dispossessed spirits, which are pretty good against thugs in large numbers. And some gelatinous cubes. Basically saying, come out and fight me with the thug, I dare you. And these dispossessed spirits he can distribute wherever he wants. Also, there's a temple up here, which is Yis's way of saying you are not getting this province back. When you build a temple in somebody's cap circle, it lets you know kind of what you think the enemy's odds of taking it back are. I don't know what all he has here, because we cannot see glamored units, but I would expect there's something. But, there's not a fort coming up, so I'm not actually sure why he built a temple. I wonder if there's an event. I'm not sure. I guess he built it maybe just to get his dominion in here. I'm not sure. Okay, that's about it for there. Yeah, we watched the battles over here. And yeah, not too much happening on this front. So I think that is it for this turn. And I think we'll call it there for the episode. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.